This show, this channel and I have had a very clear stand on the issue for the longest time that the only punishment for rapists, murderers is capital punishment. People disagree with that, but clearly whatever the nuance may be, as I welcome my panelists, let me say this, that's got to be a matter of detail. The fact is that the post-Nirbhaya laws in this country have failed the women of this country. They do not serve as any form of a deterrence. If they had, we would not have had the incident that we have had in Rohtak. We would have not had the incident that we have had in Ahmednagar. And we are going into the details of these two incidents only to highlight how horrific the situation today is. Aryama Sundaram, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Geeta Luthra, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Tanveer Ahmed Mir, Advocate, Mrunalini Deshmukh, Senior Advocate in Mumbai, and Manju Kak, writer and activist, are on one side of this debate tonight. They're against capital punishment, though that is not really the only axiom of our debate this evening. The debate is about whether the post-Nirbhaya laws work at all or not. And on the other side tonight, we have Shazia Ilmi of the BJP, we have Abha Singh, social activist, Dr. Sunitha Krishnan, she's founder of Prajwala, a well-known NGO. She's been an activist in this area for a very long time, very vocal participant on these debates. Rahul Easwar, social activist, and I think Mini Mathur, actor, is also joining us. Thank you very much. I'll just open up with a couple of questions and then feel free to jump into the debate. Now, unfortunately, Sunitha Krishnan, I'd like to start with you. You know, we pick up instances in the media occasionally. And the reason for this is not lack of interest. The reason is because there are so many instances. But sometimes, Dr. Sunitha Krishnan, instances simply because of the nature of the horror associated with the incident brings up to the fore the gravity of the situation. In this particular case, which has happened in Haryana, a 20-year-old woman is raped in 2013 by 5 men. Then those 5 men are in custody. The day they are released on bail, they've constantly been putting pressure in the last 2 years on the victim's family. Compromise, which essentially is a way of saying, accept this payment, whatever, accept a deal that we are offering you, pull back the case, Aryama Sundaram. And because this girl did not pull back the case, because this girl's family chose to stand by her, and because they chose to say, we will not compromise with somebody who has raped this girl, this same girl, 3 years later, who was raped as a 17-year-old, 3 years later, the same 5 rapists come out, Dr. Krishnan. Same 5. And then they gang raped this girl again a second time. And when we saw her clip in that news story, it was heart-wrenching. What does this prove in your view? Let's open the debate with Sunitha Krishnan. What does this prove, Dr. Krishnan?
Arnab, I don't know what is so surprising and shocking about all this, because this is what victims go through all over the country. Victims whose stories never get highlighted in your shows, victims whose stories and voices nobody has any time to hear. The entire criminal justice system is a criminal-friendly system. The accused has rights. They have the right to bail. They have the right to live as state guests in the jails. But does the victim has any right? She has to struggle to get justice. Is there something called as a victim witness protection in this country? Just a few weeks back here in Hyderabad, a convicted offender comes out of jail and the very next day rapes a 10-year-old girl and murders her. This is the state of situation which is there. These stories don't come out in your news, Arnab, but these are stories of every victim that is going across the country. Because we as a society, we as a legal system, we as a state, we are more inclined to protect the accused and the offender and not look at the plight of the victim. The victim is struggling for justice. She fights for justice. She has to go around and round the courts. She is at her own mercy. Her family, there is no closure. There are victims and her family, like if you see the case of Soumya in Kerala, who was raped and murdered from a running train. The gentleman is sitting in the jail as a state guest for past 6 years. He is being given capital punishment. It has not been executed. We want to, serve the accused. We want to serve the offenders. And today, if we are getting an epidemic of rape, we deserve it. We deserve it because that is how we have created our society, a society filled with impunity. And we encourage the accused, we encourage the offender by our action, by our words, by our criminal justice system, and the so-called wonderful human rights activists whose hearts will bleed if these guys are given capital punishment.
I think you made a very strong point there in your introductory comments, and you're absolutely correct. And Dr. Krishnan, you are correct that the legislative process in this country, I don't know what it is, Aryama Sundaram, or what it's worth. Because if the legislative process in this country permits the perpetrators of rape, in this case gang rape, to come out on bail, threaten and pressure a rape victim and her family, and because she did not compromise, punish her by raping her again. The same woman is then told, we 5 of us will come out and rape you again. This can only and only happen if there is a genuine belief among the rapists that the system is for them and not for the victim. Aryama Sundaram. The law, in my view, and I completely agree with Sunitha Krishnan, makes no sense today. After what has happened, what do you think, Aryama Sundaram?
Arnab, I think that what has happened now is an eye-opener for all of us. I, for one, have always maintained 2 things. One, I say there is a law, let's go by the law. 2, I have been against the capital punishment. But I believe now a time has come for us to relook at something, and it is this. We find that crimes against women, brutal crimes against women, are terribly on the increase. We find that the deterrence, even if though death sentences are handed down, the deterrent doesn't seem to work. What is happening is that we always have the system in law that bail is a rule and jail is an exception. I believe that today we should seriously look at an issue where there are brutal crimes like rape, heinous crimes like this. I'm not including even murder and things in that. I'm talking about these which are absolutely sick crimes which show that it's a very deviant mind behind it. It's a very deviant body behind it. According to me, what should be done is we should distinguish between those cases where people said my consent was taken by somebody promising to marry me and therefore I call it rape, etc., as against brutal crimes like this. And I believe in brutal crimes like this, bail should be an exception. Bail ought not to be given. Bail ought not to be given if there is any chance, and especially in a case like this, even when they were incarcerated, they were pressurizing the people. These are reasons not to give bail. These are always reasons why bail is not given. Is he going to tamper the evidence? Is he going to hurt? Now, what I believe ought to be done is, cases like this have to be put on a fast track, have to be finished within 1 year no matter what. No bail should be granted in cases like this. Because in a case like this, when something like this happens, I think we all should sit back and look at the issue. That doesn't mean, unfortunately, I'm not willing to agree with one thing of saying, let's throw the law to the winds. Certainly not. But law is something dynamic, it has to change with the times. The answer is not give a death sentence, because a death sentence is not a deterrent. Even today, death sentences are given, but the rapes continue. The answer is really, see that the person who commits a crime like this is kept away from the streets.
Sir, may I? Mr. Sundaram, we are opening this up for debate. But I disagree with one central premise in your opening arguments. And I'm not saying you have any motivation to say so. But you are one of the most well-informed people in the legal profession that we know of. You are saying tonight, and I saw Sunitha Krishnan respond with a bit of cynicism, gesticulating when you were speaking, when you said, now has come the time, we have come to an inflection point, now we need to realize, come on Mr. Sundaram, didn't we come to an inflection point 2 to 3 years back? What happened during Nirbhaya? There was the same anger which built up, Mr. Sundaram, but I'm sorry to say this, you know what happened after that? The human rights lobbies took over. They said, oh, you're getting too emotional about this.
Arnab, I'm talking about refusal to grant bail.
Yes.
I'm not talking about other things. I'm talking about refusal to grant bail.
Why was that
a person
not
who's
done?
granted bail comes out
I think
and does
Sunitha
the
wants
same
to rebut
offense
you.
again.
No, I
Such
agree
a man
with you.
should not be given bail
No,
at all.
I agree with you, sir. But the law allows for a rapist to be out on the streets on bail, despite bail being despite it being a non-bailable offence. The law permits us to put rapists on the streets by paying a bond.
That is the change I want in rape cases.
Why do we need to be step by step and part by part, sir? In this country, how many times will we relook what we are doing? Do it once and for all. I think Shazia wants to come in. I think Rahul Easwar wants to come in. Let's open up the debate. I think Sunitha wants to rebut. One sec. Before anyone else, Sunitha has the right to rebut. Sunitha is rebutting Aryama Sundaram. We are opening the debate after that. Yes, please. Yes, please, Sunitha. Sunitha, and then we'll open it up. Yeah, Sunitha, go ahead.
You know, I'm so shocked by the Mr. Sundaram's statement. He says fast track courts. You know, in Nirbhaya's case, there was a fast track court. Within 1 year, the entire case got over and capital punishment was awarded. For the last 4 years, they are living as state guests on taxpayers' money. Similarly, the Govindachami who raped Soumya and killed her, he is living as a state guest for the last 6 years. How can deterrence come if the punishment awarded is also not executed on time? How can any deterrence come at all? So I'm talking not just about not giving rape. I'm saying after the session court, once the conviction is made, there should not be any scope for appeal.
Yeah.
Sorry? No appeal?
Yeah, no appeal. Tanveer Ahmed Mir.
May I
Tanveer Ahmed Mir coming in. Yeah, Tanveer Ahmed Mir, go on.
Arnab, may I make here, you see, at the end of the day, Arnab, we can't resort to knee-jerk reactions.
What knee-jerk
What is important to be realized in this country is that in the Chief Justice's conference, the Honorable Chief Justice of India, was all in tears for what? Today, in High Court judiciary, 50% of the posts are vacant. In lower judiciary, where a lawyer like I appear on an everyday basis, you have 70 cases per
I
court.
don't understand the relevance of this argument to the debate at hand.
Let me tell you one thing.
I don't understand the relevance of this argument to the debate at hand. No,
I will tell you why.
Don't offer excuses. Don't offer excuses. Don't offer excuses. This is a country in which a number one film star can pay crores of rupees to a top lawyer and get his way. I'm sorry. Do not give me excuses on the legal system. This is a country in which anyone who has the money to pay top lawyers can make sure that their clout gets exercised on the system.
You're riding the wrong horse.
I am not, sir. You're avoiding the facts. Rahul Easwar is on the other side. Rahul Easwar.
In case you have the infrastructure, you can...
Sir, please don't complain about infrastructure. I don't believe
But do you have the infrastructure?
What infrastructure?
You don't have the infrastructure at the end of the day.
Please listen, sir.
Remember the famous Hannah Foster rape case in England?
That's not the case.
Maninder Pal Singh totally was extradited from India
Every
and given a life sentence in a 6-day trial in England. Why?
I think Sunitha Krishnan has articulated it beautifully and brilliantly, and she has articulated in a very nice manner. With all great respect to Aryama Sundaram ji, it is time to push at least capital punishment for repeat offenders. In many cases where there are repeat offenders, I think it is at least time that our human rights activists and advocates will agree with us in pushing for a capital punishment. These people are repeat offenders, they are a threat to other people's life and dignity, and these clauses can be invoked and they are a menace to society. At least in this case, Aryama Sundaram ji and the other honorable advocates, I hope they will agree with this contention. At least in the case of repeat offenders, people like them should openly agree in national television that we agree for a capital punishment. That will act as a deterrent and that will be a very good role model, and that will show that we are not lenient.
Yeah, Aryama is rebutting. Yeah,
under section 376E for a repeat offender of a gang rape.
Come on, Tanveer, listen. Tanveer, listen. Do not quote the law. Do not quote the law. The law has failed us. The law has failed us. Aryama is rebutting Rahul Easwar. Please.
It can't be like...
let me just make one thing clear. Please understand one thing.
Tanveer, please, yaar. Aryaman is responding. Please, yeah.
May I just respond, please? See, it's a very, very simple issue today. The fact is that there are those who are for a death sentence and those who are against a death sentence, and there are no shades there. So please don't bring in the issue of capital punishment is the answer. My point is getting these people off the streets, keeping them off the streets, not letting them come out and do the same thing again, not letting them come out when they are threatening the family. I mean, it's ridiculous for them to have been given bail if they are busy trying to pressurize the family when they are in jail. What happened? Was this not brought to the notice of the court? Was this not followed up? That is a different issue. Don't mix this up with capital punishment.
It's not.
Because my point to you is, merely because you give a death sentence doesn't stop murders. You have a capital punishment for rape today. It exists. It doesn't stop the rapists. The point is we have to keep them off the street. It's not as though there's no death sentence for rape and murder. Of course there is. But that does not stop them.
No, but
keep them off the streets. Don't give them bail.
Death penalties,
finish their trial.
Let's go to Shazia then, please. Shazia, please, is responding. Shazia. Yes, Shazia. 1 sec. I'll come. Shazia. Yeah, Shazia.
Yes, Arnab, I really want to say this. It's so sad. For rarest of the rare cases, for gruesome matters, for heinous crimes, there is capital punishment. But it should not be for rape. I don't understand why. But we have gone past that. Now, how do you ensure even a capital punishment?
No, madam.
Let's see.
Sorry, I'm not distinguishing. Those who are not for capital punishment are not for capital punishment for any offense.
Let me finish, sir. Sir, let me finish. Sir, I'm making another point, sir. But the point I'm making, in 2013, when this young girl who was only 13, when she was gang raped, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Would you let these guys leave them on the streets to rape again? Imagine 4 years later, how horrific is this? What kind of a democracy do we live in that the 13-year-old girl who survives a brutal gang rape is raped again by the same people and in a situation, and the police has no idea. So that means what? That means not just the law, but the law implementation, the enforcement, the magisterial processes, and the whole system is so skewed and weighs against the survivor or the victim. Now look at the forensics, look at the investigation process. Had this girl been protected, which she should have been, because she would have come under the witness protection program, this would not have happened. Had there been a follow-up, had there been a proper investigation, had there been a proper magisterial inquiry, had there been a fast-track court which would have been judging this matter.
Shazia,
I worked with Jyoti's parents, I worked with Nirbhaya Foundation, I also worked with Gudiya, the little girl whose parents, and they go through a tough time. So from the FIR to the conviction,
Shazia,
the whole road is paved.
Shazia, 1 minute. Shazia, 1 minute. Shazia, 1 minute. Shazia, can I speak to Shazia, please? If Tanveer speaks constantly over
and gaping holes.
Shazia, 1 minute. Shazia, listen. It's nice to lecture. Just 1 minute, Mini. It's nice to lecture. This has happened 1 hour from Delhi.
Hello.
1 hour from Delhi. It has happened in Haryana. Take some responsibility as a BJP-run state. Had this been a Congress-run state, by now you would have been saying that, it's the worst kind of law and order situation. No, second point. Second point, and
absolutely.
Second point.
Absolutely.
Second point. Second point. Second point, please, Shazia, listen to me.
Nobody can run away from that.
Shazia, will you listen to me? Please listen to me. Your chief minister in that BJP-ruled state says, I'm not feeling secure enough. And then the government says you need to feel more secure. So then Khattar, your BJP so-called austere chief minister, says that I want a car that costs 1.4 crore rupees because I want to make it completely bulletproof so that not even a stone or a bullet reaches me. So we live in a country where my money, taxpayer money, is being spent to provide a 1.4 crore rupee car to a BJP chief minister in Haryana, right? And in the same state, I haven't heard a word today from the same chief minister when in that state, 5 monsters come out and gang rape the same girl for a second time. Today, the chief minister of Haryana, be it BJP or Congress, but since it happens to be BJP, should have said that I would rather resign than be a chief minister of a state where I travel around in a 1.4 crore rupee car And a 20-year-old girl is gang raped for a second time because a group of monsters got together to conspire and punish her, to collectively punish her because this girl dared her perpetrators, dared her rapists. I think the girl shows far more courage than the entire government of Haryana tonight. So don't give me lectures, Shazia. You know exactly what the fact is. Not one word, not one whimper from a BJP Chief Minister of Haryana. Come on, Shazia, accept the facts. Accept the facts tonight. Accept the facts. We live in an India. We live in an India where it is rational to spend 1.4 crore rupees to provide a vehicle of security for an elected chief minister. We live in a state. We live in a state where the perpetrators of rape are allowed to roam freely into the village of a woman. They rape her again, rape her a second time, punish her and threaten her a second time, and tell her family that we're going to teach you a lesson if you stand up for her again. So this is not about rape, this is about punishment, this is about teaching a lesson, and your chief minister has not stood up for the victim. Your chief minister is quiet tonight because your chief minister is worried that if I stand up for the victim, I need to first find out which community the perperators are from. Because if the perpetrators are from a community that is powerful, I will compromise with them. You tell me, why is the chief minister quiet? Why is the chief minister of Haryana quiet? Why is the chief minister of Haryana quiet?
So
it's one thing to talk about the law, one thing to talk about the sensitivity of our politicians.
Ask him that question.
What do you mean ask him that question? You're from the party. What do you mean ask him that question? What do you mean ask him that question?
Yes, ask him that question.
So what do you mean ask him that question?
So what rapes are happening in the Congress CM, BJP CM, BJD CM, many CMs, many ministers are there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got something completely wrong.
Doesn't mean that I can't speak for this issue.
No, I think you got it completely wrong. I'll tell you why. You know you're beating around the bush. Can I tell you one thing? Can I tell you one thing? Your chief minister does not have the. Your chief minister, Shazia.
I'm not saying the 2013 was not the chief minister. But was the chief minister.
Shazia, can I tell you the greatest tragedy in this country? Shazia, can I tell you the greatest tragedy in this country? And Sunitha wants to come in, but before that, I'll come into you, Sunitha, but I want Mini also to come in on this. You know, the problem is everything in this country is reduced down to politics. So the chief minister is going to say which community is the victim from, which community are the perpetrators from. And if I take on 5 monsters, and if they happen to be from a very powerful community, then the community will say that I let them down. So you'd rather not let down rapists, you happily let down the victim of rape because it's politically convenient to you. Tell me you know it, Shazia. Your chief minister does not have the guts to speak against the rapists in Haryana. He does not have the guts, or he would have spoken out by now. And if he speaks tomorrow, it's fake. He should have spoken out by now.
My chief minister is the Haryana chief minister.
Yeah, your chief minister, the Haryana chief minister, does not have the guts to speak out against the rapists in this case. Because even rapists, I'd like to take a response.
Haryana police reports.
I think Mini wanted to come in. Mini wanted to come in here. Mini first, and then Sunitha Krishnan. Mini first.
It's very simple.
Mini, please. Mini.
You know, Arnab, I want to stay away from the current line of argument between you and Shazia, which is basically the blame game between whose fault it is. I'd just like to pull back and tell you that when you really look at it from over and above whatever we're discussing today, I think we are all trying to say the same thing, that we need strict judiciary in cases of rape. So while my blood boils when I hear of yet another rape every single day, and while I definitely don't have any milk of human kindness towards rapists and what kind of, you know, whether we should stay away from capital punishment, I just feel that before we fall into this whole trap of let's go for capital punishment, we should also know that if you tell a rapist today that you're going to die or you're going to be sentenced to death if you rape a woman, his first instinct is going to be to kill the woman after he's finished raping. So I can't hear anything of what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is that, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, go on. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that isn't it like staring everyone in the face that all we need to do, and I completely agree with Mr. Sundaram and what his opening remarks were, that we need a system where there is absolutely zero parole and zero bail given to anybody who's accused of rape. Secondly, and very quickly, a whole lot of sensitization needs to happen where the police is concerned, where a victim of rape can actually, without being asked any questions, we can ask them to actually file their complaints okay, instead of waiting for evidence and suggesting that they should settle it out of court, etc. There should be a zero tolerance policy. And yes, so many speed, courts and, fast track courts have been set up. But like Sunitha said, 3 years, you've been sentenced to death, you're still not in jail. So it's the judiciary that we should be looking at and creating foolproof systems for victims of rape. That's all we are talking about.
Mindset.
Well, I don't know, it sounds many...
It's a more stringent mindset we need.
I'll throw it to our panelists there. But I'm sorry, things like, let's sensitize the police, something which we have not done in 70 years. Let's do a PR campaign, which has not worked in the last 70 years. Let's change our judiciary, which has not happened in 70 years. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next 70 years. These seem too long-term to me, Abha. I mean, I don't know what you think about. These seem too long-term. These seem wishy-washy to me. I mean, if bail was non-negotiable for the accused in this case, would this 20-year-old girl be saved from being a repeat victim of rape at the hands of the same perpetrators? I think she would. That's the point. Yeah.
Definitely.
Abha.
In these heinous offences, there should be no provision of parole or furlough. We know very well how jail authorities are bribed to get bail again and again. Secondly, conviction rate in this country is just 28%. In fact, these rapists who came out have become hardened criminals because they know how to browbeat the judicial system. So judiciary is, I would say, judiciary has blood on its hands, because after knowing that these hardened criminals are going to kill again, and we talk of death penalty. We say that
Mrunalini,
this girl's rape is responsible for the judiciary and the police.
This is too serious a statement by saying that the judiciary's hands are stained with blood. Please understand, the judiciary has to be strict.
28% conviction.
You can address it, Rick.
People come out. 28% is the conviction rate. You don't protect the victim. You protect the criminals. See, no, there is something wrong. Death penalty, if you see the average one death penalty out of 1.2 billion people. What are we joking? 376A came which said that if the victim dies, it would be death penalty. How many death penalties have we given in rape cases? We can count. There were 3,500 cases where death penalty was given, but the Supreme Court watered it down. Why are we having such...
May I have a word? My only contention here is that this is a horrific incident. There should not be a bail given in these exceptional circumstances.
Who decides what's exceptional?
No, the judiciary, of course.
Who decides? Who decides?
The judiciary decides.
Please
why is the judiciary not deciding?
I think let's understand one thing. There is a rule of law. We need to respect our judiciary. And please, there is no sense in saying that the judiciary
does not know what. There's no rule of law for the people. There's no rule of law for the victims in this case.
By making
there's no rule of law out here.
We are not talking about these.
I'm telling you, there's no rule of law because tell me what rule of law exists.
The point here is when we are talking about a rule of law.
What rule of law? What rule of law exists today?
The rule of law here is that there is every opportunity to be given. In this
opportunity given to whom?
To commit rape
opportunity
again.
To whom?
Opportunity to commit rape again.
Opportunity should be given for a fair hearing.
No,
we believe in the
to
principles.
whom? To the rapist.
No, and to the rapist, because he still has to be proved to be a rapist. I'm not talking about this case. Please take any situation.
How do you decide which case is worth looking at separately?
How do you decide which? Now it is the battery of lawyers who decide whether he's a rapist or not.
No, that's not the way.
Because the police does not collect the evidence. The charge sheet is not foolproof. It is a fact. Why is such a poor conviction? Because the police is not trained to collect the evidence.
No, Geeta Luthra on the other side, please.
No, the victims are threatened. There is no
Abha,
where do we protect the victims?
Abha,
It's high time. We definitely need to relook, but not again and again that we lose our daughters.
I want to start with saying...
Yeah, Geeta.
That firstly, in a case like this, there's no likelihood of bail being granted. So, I mean, this is the first aspect we should take out.
No, who decides that?
It's a repeat case. Firstly,
who decides that?
Such heinous cases of rape. Rape, which are strictly rape. The court. The court decides.
What if today? I'm sure. What's a Geeta Luthra, a question for you. Geeta Luthra, a question for you. Suppose these five collectively.
Yes.
Suppose these five collectively have far more resources at their disposal to hire the most expensive, the best lawyers. And let me tell you, in this case, there are reports that one of the rapists in the Ahmednagar case is also very politically connected, just as it is said that in the Haryana case, all these 5 rapists are from a politically very influential community, which is one of the reason, upper caste influential community, which rapists were so influential that they were willing to offer ₹500 crore for some kind of a settlement. So let me tell you, this girl and her family are so upright, so conscientious, and have fought their battles with such difficulty that they had faith in the system that you're talking about. They failed, they rejected the money, they had faith in the system, they wanted to fight the system, and the girl was raped because that was the punishment given to her for rejection. So my point to you is, in this country where inequality is rampant, right, where there are vast differences, what if the perpetrators of the crime are far more influential or moneyed and can afford expensive lawyers and go in for a long legal fight, whereas the victims may just not have the resources to fight an entire system which anyway is tilted against them. So let me answer this. So where is the faith in the system? There's no. Sunitha is right. Nobody has any faith in the system.
It's not balanced. It's not.
So let me answer this. My conviction is, in a case of this nature, the possibility of getting bail is almost impossible. This is the first aspect. Second, according to me, even though the accused are bound to be more resourceful because their liberty is at stake, the girl is just fighting for justice. So persons whose liberty is at stake will sell their lands, will do anything, and they'll fight.
Again, you're sympathizing with the victim.
But I think
you're sympathizing with the perpetrator.
The facts.
Why are we
facts are clearing.
See, it is unfortunate.
I'm not.
Why are you pro-criminal? Why do we speak of a narrative which is anti-victim?
Nobody is pro-criminal.
No.
This is the rule of law we are talking about. We can't have jungle
their resources, they will not get bail.
It is trying to protect the criminals.
So 1 minute.
What
I am saying is this.
See, at least in this case, why can't we commit to a position?
I am saying let me complete. Despite their resources, they will not get bail. Despite their influence, they will not get bail in a case like this. I don't see any court in the country giving them bail. This is the first aspect. Now to come with regard to the laws of rape
but they have got the bail right.
That's one of the questions.
Geeta Luthra, may I remind you? No, Geeta Luthra, Sunitha is responding to you. One sec. Sunitha Krishnan is responding to you. Let me remind you that in this country, unfortunately in this country, there are a lot of people who always have sympathy for anyone who is accused of a crime. I have known of cases, and I'm sure you know as well, where an alleged rapist is interviewed, put on television, and given a full opportunity to plead his own innocence before millions of people. Nobody gives the side of the victim. In this case, the victim may be raped and murdered. And you're talking about the rule of the law. You're talking about not having any jungle raj. Please tell me, in the case in Maharashtra's Ahmednagar district, the girl had her hair pulled out. Is that jungle raj? Her hands were dislocated from her shoulders. Is that a rule of the law? Her teeth were smashed. Is that jungle raj? Before she was strangulated to death after rape. I don't know what is jungle raj. And I don't know what we are worried about. Every time we talk about tougher laws of rape, it's not argument. There has to be a rule of the law.
It's not jungle raj.
Sunitha is coming in discussion.
Will the accused get bail?
Arnab.
And my answer is they will not.
Sunitha Krishnan, 1 second. Sunitha Krishnan, go on please, Sunitha.
That's not the question, ma'am.
Hundreds of accused in rape cases get bail. This is not an exception. This is an exception because it's come on the Newshour today, not because of anything else, because it is just next to Delhi. If you get raped in somewhere in Coimbatore or in some place in Wayanad or some other, remote part of the country, you will not even know when they got the bail. That apart, blame game is not going to make any child, any woman safe in this country. There seems to be lot of money for VIP security, for all kinds of bandobast, but there's no money for victim witness protection here. There is no money to adequately staff the courts here. But we have all the time in the world, to shame the victim, to make the victim feel bad about what is happening to her. But we don't even have the guts
to say the name of the rapist. We don't even have the guts to shame the rapist. Do we have even a sex offenders registered in this country where we can track them, we can find out where they are going? We don't even have a sex offenders register, and there is so much of resistance within the government to bring a sex offenders register that we are demanding for.
Shazia.
So, it's like all of us, they are the Maryada Purushottam Rams.
So this is exactly
and this is a fallen woman. I know it because I have survived gang rape myself.
Are you
I know the shame, I know the pain.
Aspect?
For 26 years I've gone through it. So please don't tell me this is an exception. And it is not just in the rape and murder that it pains. Any rape pains.
Why doesn't the channel
No,
launch?
absolutely. You make a fair point. But unless and until we fix the system, there are poor girls getting raped from different communities, and yes, a particular caste. It happens more often than not. But let me tell you one thing. No legal assistance. No medical assistance, just registration of FIR. Now the law has changed and it's mandatory now to have an FIR in place. No investigation follow-up. The law is totally vague. Now they're given sarkari lawyers to have a case. But you will not believe it, in most cases, the lawyers are so weak compared to the battery of lawyers brought by the perpetrators of the crime. Yeah. And it is, and more often than not, as you heard in this girl's case, the family has to flee. There is social stigma. So there are
you are in power. You have a full majority in the parliament, Shazia. Why don't you recommend? In fact, in Murthal,
no, I'm not in any power. No, Abha, don't make it about Abha. I'm not in any power.
The police was told not to register an FIR.
There's this from making it so simplistic. There's this from making it so simplistic. Make it meaningful. Make it matter. Make the law work. It's very easy to abuse one person or the other. If you're really serious, you will strengthen the system. Which is what I propose. Nobody can condone any chief minister, any VIP security. I don't believe in it.
Don't delay.
It is not about that. You've changed the subject again. You have again done it. Abha, this is a great opportunity to make the system better.
Let the law minister come and say how this bail was granted. How these
it's more serious than that.
Converted into life imprisonment.
It is very serious. Please let the system work. Let it be answerable. It is not about scoring points from one party to the other.
I think the simple issue is Abha and Shazia. Abha and Shazia. Just Abha and Shazia. Can I?
I'm saying what you are saying.
The simple point is. Can I just go to Manjuka? And I'm coming to you because she hasn't spoken. My point is.
Can I just take 1 minute? Can we not have a constructive suggestion here that yes, the legal aid system, the sarkari wakils that you have said about, that absolutely the quality is not up to the star match. There can be
who decides what is quality?
No, quality is like you said, the battery of lawyers, whatever.
Who decides?
So my suggestion is that if the legal aid, all the appointed lawyers are paid well, they have a standard quality of it, then there is some kind of a support system that the victim will get who is unable to have that. So what the government could do is, my suggestion is, have legal aid system strengthened in the manner, not in the numbers, but in the quality.
Who decides?
By making
No, this is all subjective. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This all makes you know. Abha, can I request you to wait for a minute? Can I request both of Abha, can you wait for a minute? Abha, can you wait for a minute? Can you wait for a minute? You made your point. Now just hear me one thing. First of all, just let's, we are getting caught in all kinds of confusion out here. Simple point is, what has happened in Rohtak has shaken all of us up. Right. Some of us want to accept it. Some of us yet want to say, some of us who have a little bit of a human rights mindset want to say, listen, the problem is not with the law, the problem is with the implementation. I've heard it so many times before, it makes no sense to me. The fact is this, if the point of bringing in stronger laws after Nirbhaya were to deter, given what has happened, it is clear deterrence has not happened at all. If the point of legislation is to prevent perpetrators of rape, a 14-year-old girl, she's had her hands taken out, dislocated, she's been strangulated to death. In Haryana, a 20-year-old girl, she's subject to gang rape by the same bunch of 5 monsters. 3 years later, these instances only tell us that the laws on rape have failed the people of India. Simple. Let's keep it simple on that. Let's not complicate and let's get a good lawyer, bad lawyer. The laws have failed. Have you agreed or not?
Absolutely.
Have the laws failed? Are there any? Is there any doubt on that? Manju Kak, do you have any doubt on that?
Yes.
That the laws have failed. Let that be the starting premise.
The
Manju
laws
Kak,
have failed.
Yeah.
I simply want to say 3 things. One, these 5 people should be hanged. They should be sent to death tomorrow. Second, 500,000 women should descend on the streets and demand the Chief Minister's resignation ASAP.
Well said.
And third, we should not use this for discordant voices. I congratulate your channel, but you must follow it to the conclusion. And that is, there must be a nationwide discussion on what happens to minor girls who are raped. That is the most heinous of crimes. So all of us, whatever you may have in mind as lawyers or as whatever else, one thing is certain: these 5 men must be hanged, and the Chief Minister must resign, or he must answer. Yeah. And from these 2 points, we must not deter or shake. And there must be a uniform voice supporting these 2 points. And it's not a question of BJP or Congress. It is any Chief Minister in any state where convicted rapists go back and rape a woman again like this. This is a crime against humanity. It is like the Holocaust. So kill them, murder them, give them capital punishment, whatever you like. But those must be obliterated from society. And Khattar must stand up and own.
Yeah, meaning. No, I get it. Mini want to say something, and I think Shazia also. Shazia,
I'm completely with Manju I'm completely with Manju when she says the Chief Minister must take moral responsibility for this. Okay, he must, because only when the moral responsibility is taken and resignations are given will people start understanding that the law, the judiciary, the police force, everybody must take stock of at what levels they must have sensitization to these rape victims, from the person who is not lodging a complaint to the men in this country. And I'm telling you, this is only going to happen when the men in this country will start, when the men in this country are boys.
All the chief ministers
sensitization has to start from that point, and nobody is doing any jack shit about this. Right now, we're just playing, oh, tumhari galti, tumhari galti.
To demand
nothing is happening. The law as well as the judiciary both are failing the victims in this case as far as rapes are concerned.
Call all women out. At least a million.
The thing we need is capital punishment. Give capital punishment
for the death of
fear into their hearts. Human rights is only for human beings, not for inhuman criminal monsters. This is a flawed premise. Human rights is only for human beings, not for inhuman criminal monsters. If they are proved inhuman criminal monsters, repeat offenders, hang them, and let us in one voice vouch for it. I would request the human rights lawyers to support at least capital punishment for repeat offenders so that this nation can send a message.
Yeah, but let me give you examples. I tell you one thing. I agree with Sunitha.
Rahul, what
I agree with Sunitha
to this argument?
No, what's it?
You must be sensitized to the other side of the argument as well. Capital punishment is not so easy. We can't just all get so excited and say, oh, capital punishment for the offenders. There is a trap we are falling into right there.
I think one second.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go on.
Rape is not an accident.
Yeah.
Arnab, I want to repeat this very, very clearly. Rape is not an accident. It's a deliberate act. It's a deliberate criminal act. So I don't understand what this repeat offense is done. I was raped once. Does it make my pain lesser than somebody else who has been raped twice or thrice? And if I as an adult has been raped, is that less than a child who has been raped? Rape is a rape, yeah. Take it that way. Don't give too much of big adjectives out it. Look at it from the point of the perspective of the person who has gone through it. The pain that person has been subjected to, a lifetime of pain, when all the people are just talking around, just playing this blame game, and there is absolutely no zero tolerance to this.
No, far from zero tolerance. Far from zero tolerance, Sunitha. If you look at it, we have too much tolerance. We have too much tolerance of all these instances. I agree with what you're saying about repeat offenders. I just want to give you one example, Sunitha. right? And I'm sure the lot of people, we have so many people who say they totally, completely agree with you. And even in what Manju Kak says, there is an inherent anger that is spilling over. You understand, Mini, while we say let's not have shortcut reactions, let's not blow the fuse, the fact is like, it's like Nirbhaya all over again. Like people are asking right now, bahut ho gaya? It's happening repeatedly.
It is.
In Greater Noida.
My blood is boiling.
In Greater Noida.
What are we doing about it? We're not taking any concrete.
Mini. Just to give you some examples here. In Greater Noida, a 3-year-old girl was allegedly raped by her neighbor. The police said the suspect was out on bail as he was an accused in another case of rape of a 7-year-old and was arrested then. A man accused of raping a 7-year-old comes out on bail and rapes a 3-year-old. I don't know, Aryama Sundaram, today when you say that, things are going from bad to worse, we need to act. We are a country, which other country, Aryama Sundaram, which other country in this world is a rapist of a 7-year-old allowed to come out, given a red carpet, aiye, bahar jaiye, we want to sensitize society and police still be sensitized. Police, enjoy your freedom and also be free to rape a few other people in the process. Which other country do 5...
He should be locked up for life.
No, which other country does this happen? Aryama Sundaram, you tell me. You tell me.
Arnab, I want to say this and I repeat it again. I said this when I started. Can I finish what I was saying? I said this when I started and I say it again. Bail cannot be given for people who have committed a physically brutal rape. Any rape which is
all rape is physically brutal.
Not a rape which comes out
physically and mentally brutal,
etc., etc. I'm talking about
no
rape.
Exceptions can be
given. Bail cannot be given. This is the point I'm making. Unfortunately today, in rape, where we all know there are eyewitnesses, a strong prima facie case, bail should not be granted, and that is something I'm saying is imperative. That is something which I'm saying is a lacune today, that we're actually allowing rapists to come out on bail. On the contrary, they should remain, and any rape case should be tried and sentencing done within 1 year. And in the meantime, there is no question of bail. And that is something we have to introduce. Because this is not the first time, unfortunately, and this will not be the last time unless we take some step. And I say we have to revisit the law in this subject.
So the law has failed. So the law has completely failed.
The law has failed.
So post-Nirbhaya law failed, right?
It has failed.
So we need another agitation for another law?
Please don't forget that after a death sentence, after it was brought into the statute books that rape and murder has a death sentence, it has not lowered the rapes. They continue. So the law has failed.
You see, but that's why I find while all this happens,
How many death sentences have been awarded?
How many have been executed? As I said in the beginning, that 3,500 death sentences have been converted to life imprisonment. Why such a largesse to rapists and murderers? I fail to understand.
We don't only want to give rapists bail. We want to glorify them while they are in jail and do like exclusive interviews with them and put it out and where they can tell the whole world that I never committed the act of rape. We all know, Aryama Sundaram. We know that the rapists in the case of Nirbhaya were given an open platform on an international channel and an Indian channel to explain to the world at large why they were innocent.
And we try to give them the benefit that they were poor and that is why they committed rape.
And we build up a narrative, Aryama Sundaram, very, very intelligently. Some so-called human rights types build a narrative saying these poor people accused of rape understand their circumstances, understand their mindset, empathize with them, go into the root cause argument.
I'm sure that nobody would take such a thing seriously.
People have to.
Mr. Sundaram, any right-thinking person taking that seriously.
Mr. Sundaram, there are many self-proclaimed right-thinking people who have oodles of empathy for people accused of rape, who go in for the same root cause argument like you deal with terrorists. Let's look at the root cause why terrorists become terrorists. Let's look at the root cause why rapists become rapists. And let's give them a long rope. You know, Aryama Sundaram, Shiv Kumar Yadav, the Uber driver accused in the rape of a 27-year-old woman in Delhi, was out on bail in a rape case in 2013, besides being involved in the same case in 2011. If he would not have been allowed bail in the first place, the 27-year-old would not have been raped.
That has to be changed.
Yeah, but Aryama Sundaram, it's not being changed because this human rights lobby takes over, right? You and I have this discussion. People think in one way, but the human rights lobby comes and says, think about the human rights. People like Tanveer Ahmed will come today on television and say, think about the human rights of these rape accused.
Arnab, any human rights
Tanveer Ahmed will be the first person.
Law grants bail to an accused because some human rights lobby comes into play. What are you talking? A court of law grants bail on the basis of evidence that is placed before it.
What evidence?
Now, if you don't provide the correct evidence, how is the court going to take decisions?
I'm telling you,
your human rights argument is in thin air.
Sorry.
What are you talking?
Sorry.
There's no question of human rights argument coming into play in rape cases.
Tanveer Ahmed, I'll tell you one thing.
Contrarian view as well, Arnab. Take a contrarian view.
Tanveer Ahmed, this is a country.
In society, you have two kinds of rape cases.
Please.
One is promise to marriage, out of which in India 98% of rape cases filed in metropolitan cities are all false. Another rape cases never get reported. Haryana has a dismal record on rape. Now you are saying that, you see, because no court of law decides a bail application on human rights theory. Sorry. You see hard evidence.
I am telling you,
decide.
Tanveer, listen. Tanveer, I'll take the Haryana case. 1 minute. Tanveer, I'll take the Haryana case and I'll tell you with the greatest of respect to you, and you know I have great personal regard for you, why I believe that your argument is essentially intellectually hollow. I'll tell you why. Because you are saying out here that the system will evaluate on the basis of facts and evidence. What evidence? 5 days after the incident when 5 people have gang raped a girl for the second time, not one of the 5 accused have been arrested. If the police cannot even arrest the 2 men who are out on bail, what does it say about policing in Haryana? When the woman was raped in May 2013, why didn't the Haryana police manage to arrest all 5 accused? The fact of the matter is 3 out of the 5 offenders in both cases haven't been caught once by the police in all these years for the heinous crimes. And in the interim, Tanveer, so that you can look a little bit more shocked, while I'm telling you this, in the interim the police did not make any attempt to arrest the 3 others who have been managing to evade the law since May 2013. Or did they wake up to arresting them only after they committed the offense again? So you want to tell me that the police in Haryana thinks I'm sorry. Listen to me now, Tanveer. Listen to me. What I'm going to say is going to shock you. You think the police in Haryana is going to say that a rape is not a rape unless the woman has been raped by the same man a second time? No. That's what you're telling me. And on national television, you're telling me we'll have evidence, law, procedure, societal change.
I'm saying
come on, Tanveer.
I'm saying that the courts have to arrest the persons if the police,
Tanveer,
if the persons are
Tanveer, ask yourself a more basic question.
Then it is the inefficiency of the police officials in nabbing them.
Tanveer,
you are saying that there is
the accused in Haryana belong to a politically influential higher caste. The accused in this case in Haryana belong to a politically influential higher caste. The law becomes blind if the lawmakers don't implement it.
You provide the infrastructure, sir.
Oh, please.
You have, once charges are framed in a rape case, you provide infrastructure for finishing the trial on a day-to-day basis.
For God's sake. I want Manju to come in.
It's Manju. It's very paradoxical that the Prime Minister has launched a Beti Bachao campaign. And he has done it with all honesty and earnestness, and we support him in this. But his own Chief Minister, in a state which we all know has a heinous record on this, has not even come on national television to own that he has not been able to do a Beti Bachao in his own state.
Not even an assurance.
What does it speak about the politics of rape?
He doesn't care.
Madam, you may speak on the national platform. These platitudes. Excuse me, let me finish.
Let me finish. Ground reality on practical grounds.
What ground reality?
Let me finish.
What ground
I'm trying to say to you
that
a Prime Minister of a country is launching a Beti Bachao campaign. And there is no law enforcement and something like this.
And legal aspect is not a priority for the government. How amount of budget is given to this aspect?
What
Today,
budget are you talking
50% of the judges are vacant. You have no infrastructure. Therefore, you have delay.
You're speaking like a man who has not experienced the pain of seeing a daughter or himself go through such an experience.
I'm sorry, madam, you're taking it absolutely wrong.
No.
You have to see it from a practical point of view.
Can you let me finish?
From an emotional point of view. if Khattar had come
everything is
today
emotion. The Prime Minister has won the election on emotion because we were disgusted.
Are you, madam, going to say that if Mr. Khattar resigns tomorrow, rapes will not take place in this country?
Yes, it will. Send a message.
He must resign tomorrow.
Bankruptcy.
He must resign tomorrow. That is the demand of Indian women.
Wrong. If he has
must
come
resign tomorrow to
on
show
national
solidarity
TV and
with us.
resigned, are you going to ensure that rapes will not happen in India tomorrow morning onwards?
Yeah, so what you're saying, Tanveer, one minute.
You're talking rubbish.
Tanveer, one
You're
minute.
just talking rubbish.
Tanveer, Tanveer, 1 second. Yes, Rahul Easwar, please. Rahul Easwar is saying something and then I want to get... No, 1 second.
How can
Tanveer,
we be
cold-hearted?
How can we be cold-hearted? It is not a mere technical academic discussion for debate's sake. What we are discussing is affecting lakhs of people. We cannot be cold-hearted in cases like this. We cannot have a mere technical argument. This is not an academic debate. This is
nobody is cold-hearted. You have to look at the reality, sir. And then
don't be cold-hearted, sir. Don't be cold-hearted, sir.
Nobody is being cold-hearted here.
No.
Please don't be
cold-hearted. Should give one message, and that message should be that such crimes will unanimously
be. We will give you the results.
If you're telling
give us infrastructure, we will give you the results.
You know. Tanveer Ahmed, I'll tell you the reality of this country. May I tell you, Tanveer Ahmed, in any other country in the world, in this entire planet, in any other country, if a politician would have come out and said, in the context of rape, hota hai, boys will be boys, ladke to ladke honge, bhool ho jayegi, that person would not have been allowed to exist in public life. In this country, political parties that hope that someday we will have to do a deal with the Samajwadi Party will not have the courage to take on Mulayam Singh Yadav and say, can you retract that comment? I'm not going to say anything.
There's one more reason for this.
Yes,
the reason is that rape is used as a tool
and also the superstars who make trivial comments about rape, their films are super hit in this country.
Absolutely, that is the tragedy, Sunitha. That is the tragedy, and political parties that hope that these same superstars will campaign for them in the next election don't have the guts to talk about them. I'm talking specifically in the context of Salman Khan. This is a country where a person is seen by the record of how many crore rupees they got in the box office, but not at the shame they brought upon themselves and their own society when they trivialized an act of rape, and Sunitha is absolutely 1000% correct.
But the Indian electorate today can have a Salman Khan campaign
and he has
not
even the moral, minimum of moral responsibility to apologize till date, and you expect the Haryana Chief Minister to resign.
You don't want to look at the other side of his character.
What did he say?
We have a culture of diluting the whole.
What did he say? What did you say?
You want to castigating from one another and don't want to take the other perspective.
Sir, please stop trivializing issues.
So please stop trivializing. What do you mean?
Please, for God's sake, don't trivialize issues.
You see, emotional rants.
What emotional rant, Tanveer Ahmed? What's it? Tanveer Ahmed, I think Sunitha can respond to you fittingly. Sunitha can respond to you fittingly, so I let Sunitha, 1 minute.
I am not emotionally ranting, sir.
1 second.
I work with
Tanveer, listen.
day in and day out.
Do you think that
my whole life is dedicated for victims of sex crime and sex trafficking? This is not an emotional ranting.
Apply your mind. You need to apply your mind, madam. If these persons are given a death penalty tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, are raped.
Excuse me, sir. I apply my mind every day. I give shelter, I give rehabilitation support for thousands of victims. That is all that I do. I'm not sitting here emotionally ranting. I sit here because I've rescued 16,000 girls out of prostitution. Not because this is an academic exercise.
Tanveer Ahmed, 1 second. Tanveer Ahmed, may I come in, please? And you hear me? And you hear me? 1 second, Sunitha.
Please don't accuse me of emotional ranting.
1 second, Sunitha. Sunitha, Tanveer Ahmed, immediately apologize. Immediately, as of this minute, apologize to Dr. Sunitha Krishnan for calling her comments about rape and emotional rant when there is an individual who has come on television. I know the work that she does, it's tireless, and she has every right. If she criticizes even the media, I take it, because whatever she's doing, no, one second. When a person comes on television and says, I have been a victim of rape and I have taken it for all these years, she has a right to speak about it, and you on the other hand trivialized it by saying, don't talk about Salman Khan's comments on rape because he throws thousands of crores rupees in the other direction. Are you trying to equate cash with what a victim of rape goes through? So please don't trivialize it, and I want you to immediately apologize to Dr. Sunitha Krishnan for the comment you made about an emotional rant. If there's anyone who's ranting, it is you, sir. It is anyone who's ranting, it is you, not Sunitha Krishnan.
Sorry, you're getting it wrong.
No, you apologize to her. Don't say sorry to me.
You're looking at a permanent solution.
No, permanent solution does not mean running down what another person is saying. I think you need to be rational about it. And don't tell people in this country to be rational about rape. That's the silliest, superficial argument I've ever heard. Let's be rational about rape. Is rape rational? Are rapists rational? What element of rationality are you planning to bring in this discussion?
You can't convict somebody.
You apologize to Sunitha Krishnan, I'm telling you. You apologize to her now.
Look,
for calling what she said an emotional rant.
I did not say to Sunitha Krishnan that, you see, it's an emotional rant in her personal capacity, mind you.
No emotional rant, and on that, since you didn't, I'm going to take you off this debate. I gave you an opportunity. You cannot do that on this program. You cannot do that in this program. No, you cannot do this on this program. Let me tell you, she's making a completely logical comment. What are you talking about? A rapist is a threat to society. He should not be allowed to roam on the streets. A rapist is a threat to a person's safety and security.
Well, he should not be, because
and then just because you believe in the other direction, the problem with you is you're reflecting your chauvinism on television. You are showing and displaying your chauvinism on television. Much in the way that Salman Khan did. Much in the way that Salman Khan did. Much in the way that Salman Khan showed his chauvinism on television. You two are showing pure chauvinism on television. Pure chauvinism on television. And I cannot believe that a literate lawyer should be calling a rape victim who's working for rape victims over the years, and what she says an emotional rant. I think, Tanveer Ahmed, that is an abuse. That is an abuse of civility that I expected from you on the program. It's an abuse of civility.
Personal capacity.
There's no personal. You cannot abuse another person in a personal capacity. And since you're not apologizing, I think we are wasting time with you.
After Nirbhaya, has the thing stopped?
You don't have an argument. Don't make a personal attack.
That doesn't mean we surrender to the criminals. What you are talking of, that this will not stop. No. You are taking a defeatist approach. You are saying let us surrender. Why should we surrender? The fact is that when you execute death penalty, the law of deterrence will prevail.
Nobody needs to surrender. You need to ask the government that first of all,
CMs will take a lesson that they will take these crimes seriously. Tomorrow, if Qatar is made to resign, I'm sure Mulayam Singh Yadav will treat
Sunitha is saying something. Yes, Sunitha, you were saying something too?
Arnab, nothing is going to stop until this kind of mindset exists. This attitude, this tolerance to such crimes, and this rationalization to all the behavior, including behavior that promotes rape culture, is what is going to be creating the environment that will allow, with impunity, more and more children, more women to be raped in this country. Nothing is going to change so long as these mindsets continue to have the same mindset.
But I think largely we are in agreement. If there's one productive thing that comes out, largely everyone is in agreement with where Aryama Sundaram started. Let there be no bail.
Absolutely.
Let there be no bail for rapists. Mrunalini, please.
So I think Mr. Sundaram was absolutely right that there is unanimity on this panel. I can say that very that there should be no bail for such instances which are there, because they are not only horrific, they are beyond being horrific. And obviously, as everybody knows, that rape is not an act; it's a violence. It's a violence on the woman, on her mind, her body, everything which is there. And this kind of people allowed to be going around free and giving things. What I stated was, and which is in concurrence with Mr. Aryama Sundaram, is that we cannot just have our own laws. There is a rule of law which needs to be followed.
But if the rule of law allows the rapist back on the streets, I have a problem.
I am saying no. If that rule of law needs to undergo some changes, radical changes, and not only radical changes, but very, very constructive and positive changes to bring about the thing. That is the answer that we have to look at. We have to look at some ways I'll
tell you.
Give her the best legal aid which is possible, because here you have a perpetrator who's got the best battery of lawyers and who's going to defend him. Here you need the victim to have, because she is the aggrieved party, a better system which will help her and assist her. And I'm completely in consonance with Dr. Krishnan that it is the way to look at it, that we need to understand and be sensitive about it. And that's all I'm saying. But we cannot have a...
Aryama Sundaram, I think it's time for a campaign to stop. I mean, my only issue with you is you cannot draw a fine line on which cases of rape you give bail in and which case you don't. I think a blanket ban on established cases of rape, cases of rape would be a better starting point. Aryama Sundaram.
Strong prima facie.
Yes.
Arnab.
Yes.
Arnab, can I come in there?
Yes, please. Yes. Please.
Arnab, I believe in a case of physical rape, as I put it, if there is a strong prima facie case made out, don't wait for the proof, because that comes only after trial. But if there's a prima facie case, if there's an identifying of the person, if any of these factors, the circumstantial evidence strong enough, if all this comes out, bail should not be granted.
Right.
The trial should be gone through, and then the conviction should take place.
Well, that's a starting point.
Do not, if we say that if rape is made out, now the moment we do that, we're given too much grist to the legal field to then say it's not yet made out, it's still being prima facie, it hasn't been decided. I want a change by which, when there's a strong prima facie case, especially when there are eyewitnesses, when there's identification by the person concerned, when there are others as the last seen theory, the person last seen with the woman, if any of these are made out, then bad luck. I'm sorry, but even if he's going to finally be proved to be innocent, for that period of time he cannot be granted bail. Right. Because it's a natural habit of all these people when they come out to try to influence the people, to try to pressurize them, to try to somehow subvert the law. And I feel that is where we must head right now.
You know,
to see that incarceration
the law was amended. The law was amended in March 2013. The amended law has failed us. The law still says the minimum term is 7 years. So basically we are saying in 7 years a rapist will be out on the streets. I have a problem with that. I'll take this suggestion forward and let's make this a campaign to everyone, and especially to Dr. Sunitha Krishnan tonight. And she's been critical of our news coverage in the past. She has a right to do so. But let me say this, Dr. Sunitha Krishnan, that you didn't get an apology from Tanveer Ahmed Mir, but I would like to apologize for you for what he said to you on the program tonight. Tanveer Ahmed Mir, you should have apologized. Do not ever say that when a person speaks with conviction, do not call it an emotional rant. I'm not going there again. I thank you all for joining me. I'm going to take this as a campaign and take it forward. Thank you for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight. Thank you.
I apologize to her. I'm not an insensitive person at the end of the day. What are you talking?
Okay, if you've given an apology, that's on record.
I didn't say it in a personal capacity.
Again, you're going there. Now, I'm going to have to close this at this point. Never give a qualified apology on the news, sir. You apologize. You don't give a qualified apology, sir.
Apologizing to the lady if she felt bad.
No, this ifs and buts I don't like.
Let's look forward to a permanent solution.
You know what? I felt bad. All our viewers felt bad. I'll close it there. I thank you very much, Tanveer. Don't stretch it. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight. Thank you.